Hey, everybody. What is up? It is me, Mike Vanderpool. I am here today on the Make It Happen podcast talking to a longtime friend in the education space, Chris Hamady, over at Anthony Wayne Schools, where I'll dox myself. My kids go there. My company, Anthony Wayne Innovation and Design, probably wouldn't be too hard to figure out, but Chris is the director of technology over there, and I know from talking to director of technologies across the wonderful region of Northwest Ohio, there's a whole lot we could talk about today. We'll try to focus it a little bit here, but we'll see how much my ADHD brain can handle that. So Chris,
two of us with ADHD brains, it's going to get crazy.
It's pretty wild, man. Yeah. So spoilers, folks. This is going to be all over the place, but we'll fix it in the edit, right? How you doing today, Chris?
Good, thank you. Appreciate you letting me talk.
Yeah, no problem at all. I know our directors of technology in schools, you all are the unsung heroes, I think, of education, in my not so humble opinion as a technologist. You got us through COVID with, remote, dealing with a lot of that stuff. You make sure all of the Google Classroom and everything else, all the technology stuff that's so interwoven into our schools is working every day. I know most technology departments tend to be a little bit understaffed. And people only call you when their computer's not working, right? No one ever calls you to say, "Hey, Chris, my stuff worked great today," right? So appreciate everything
I
you're
would
doing.
be remiss if I didn't say that, Devin, Nikki, and David, the technology supervisors here, they're the ones that make it happen. I generally come up with the direction of which way we're going to go, and they make all that stuff happen. So I'm very lucky to have them on the team.
Awesome. And we do live in an amazing school district. What you guys do at AW is pretty phenomenal. I'm not saying other folks aren't, but I'm very blessed that my kids are going to Anthony Wayne Schools. So let's see. The last time I saw you, and we'll start here, you were doing a community event where you were teaching some folks about security and other things, a hot topic. Wasn't there a Forbes article that just came out today? There's 19 billion compromised passwords or something going on. So tell me a little bit about cybersecurity here in your world, and also then those events and how people might be able to get involved.
So in education, there are actually websites out there that can show you all the cybersecurity incidents that have afflicted K-12 schools across the country. And we're talking hundreds, thousands. And it's a major topic for IT directors in education right now. Frankly, IT directors in general. Anybody who has a network, has data that needs to be protected, devices that need to be protected. And if they have some sort of funds, somebody's going to come after them and try to take over their network, take over their devices, and essentially ransom the access to those devices and that data for Bitcoin. And so we've been actively looking at ways to protect the school district from the minute I got here. The first big change was probably around 2017, when we were one of the first districts to fully encrypt all of our devices. In case something would be lost or stolen, that data would be protected, could not be retrieved. The next thing that we did was we focused on device and data authentication. And without getting into too many details, because we don't want the bad guys to know that, we did not choose to go the route of Microsoft Active Directory and the vulnerabilities that are inherent with that product. But we were one of the first, probably the first in Ohio, to go with this alternative authentication mechanism that to date has not had a single case of ransomware. And so we're really proud of leading in that direction, and trying to convince others to go in that direction as well, because, this it's a plague, man. It is an absolute plague. And I hate to see my fellow tech directors have to deal with their entire district being shut down because these people just take over their entire existence. And anything that I can do to help protect school districts and now our community members, that's what I'm doing. And so, and Devin is as well. Devin and I have been doing this community cybersecurity series. And the reason that we started doing this is you don't see anything on mainstream television. Nobody's having a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And you know, we hear on the news all the doom and gloom about it, and we hear and see all the organizations that have been compromised and all the people who personally have been hacked. And yet no one is telling anybody what they can do to protect themselves. And so our team, you know, we wanted to figure out a way that we could give back to the community. And we originally did a device repair day. And we had a couple people come to that, and that was nice. But then I thought, you know what? Cybersecurity is way, way, way more important. And we need to get the word out on how people can begin to protect themselves. And so that's ultimately what we did. Every other month or so, we hold a lunch and learn at noon. Anybody can come. We have a number of different topics that we go through. We review from the beginning what we've already gone through for those people that are new. And we just talk about ways that people can protect themselves, their data, their devices, and their livelihoods, really. So,
and that one that I went to was really well attended. I was impressed. I'm like, oh, like this is cool. Now you did skew towards a specific demographic, but at noon on a weekday, you're going to have a specific demographic.
Yeah.
But I think some of the more mature folks in our community, they're the ones who are. Maybe it's not fair to say, but there's an easy target, right?
Well, it's just like
targeted.
It's like my mom.
Yeah.
You know, my mom's 84, and I am constantly having conversations with her. And my mom is one of those people that loves to learn. And these people, by way of showing up for this event, have told us we love to learn as well. Mm-hmm. And so the same types of things that I talk about with my mom, how she can protect herself, her cell phone, her computer, her bank accounts, the same conversations that I have with my mom, those are the conversations that we're having with the community.
Yeah. Awesome. So how can people, in the Anthony Wayne area region here, find out about those things? What's the best way to keep in touch?
Well, if you go to our website, all of that stuff should be accessible somewhere on our website that they can find out about these events. But if they want to attend one of our events, they can just call the board office and talk to the receptionist and let them know, hey, here's my name, here's my email address. I'd like to attend the next lunch and learn.
And so what are the major topics that people should even be conscious of right now? You know, the cybersecurity space, there's always going to be new things popping up all the time, but it feels like, from at least my perspective, there's some foundational things that we need to be kind of paying attention to. Can you help me out with what those are?
Yeah. So I just got an email yesterday. I'm glad we get to have this conversation so close to this email that I got yesterday. So I get this email from my bank, and I'll leave the bank, the name out of it. But it's asking me to log in to my account and do all of this stuff. And then it said, or you can call the bank at our number that is the official number for the bank. And it gave a number. And I'm thinking to myself, how do I know that this is legitimate? How do I know that this is legitimate? Is if you get an email and you think it's legitimate, but you're not sure, exactly what can you do to ensure that email is legitimate? And so what I did was, the email that I got stated that I should call 1-888 and then this phone number, which is the official number for the bank. Well, I went to the bank's website by typing in www.thebanksname.com. Then I Googled it to make sure that URL was what comes up when you are searching for that bank. Okay, so now I know the domain I'm looking for. I went to the bank's homepage, And then I looked for that phone number, and sure enough, that phone number was listed. So we're going to try to show people things that they can concretely do to legitimize the communications that are coming to them. And the other thing that I tell people, and you may have been there when I've said this, it's absolutely all right to be paranoid, to be
1000%.
suspicious. And if you don't have a need for an email, if you weren't expecting an email on a topic, if you don't necessarily want to deal with an email, like, or a text message, you get these text messages that, you owe money to the turnpike.
Yeah, I get it. Yes.
Just ignore it. Absolutely ignore it. If somebody wants some money from you, they'll come after you. If somebody sends you a text message that you owe money, ignore it. If they email you that anything about money, just ignore it. That's one of the things I'm trying to tell people, is that you should look at your communications from a very self-centered point of view. Do I need this communication? Do I need to interact with this communication? Do I want to interact with this communication? And the answer to the safest answer to that in terms of cybersecurity is no. Just refuse to even engage.
There's two things I've noticed where the cyber criminals will focus, right? They'll try to scare you. This is urgent, or you have to do this, or you've been compromised, whatever. That goes way back to even, right, the pop-ups we used to get 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Yep.
And then the other thing is there's some financial reward available, right? So I don't know how much you're on LinkedIn, but I would, and I think they've solved this problem, but I would get attractive females following me, sending me messages, hey, starting a conversation, oh, I'm coming to your area, blah, blah, blah. And eventually I like to interact and try to figure these things out. I'm a cyber sleuth myself. It was, would you like to sign up to buy Bitcoin through my site? Like it's very much, they play on, I don't think that the scams have evolved at all. It's just different ways of trying to run the same scams, right?
Yeah. So I get, the same type of thing on X, Twitter.
Oh, yes.
And Blue Sky to a lesser extent. But here's how I go about that. If somebody follows me, I will do exactly what you suggested and start taking a good hard look at that person and saying, is there any reason that this person should be following me, a 60-year-old tech director for a public school district, and clearly in some cases, you don't want that person following you. They have no business following you. So there's nothing wrong with blocking people. I try to curate my social media as much as I possibly can. I don't need to have 5,000, 10,000 followers. I know you follow me on Twitter, I think.
And I deleted my Twitter. Just
okay.
Full disclosure.
Well, I'm on Blue Sky.
Executive decision. All right, I'll find you on Blue Sky.
You can find me on Blue Sky. But the people that should be following me, I'll allow that. But the ones that you and I both know, come on, man. There's no reason that person wants to follow me. So I just block them.
Anybody that interacts with you on social media that within the first 5 minutes or 5 back and forth of conversation wants to take the conversation over to WhatsApp is trying to scam you.
Oh, yeah.
That's
absolutely.
Absolutely. And WhatsApp, that's because that's encrypted, right? There's not as much of a trail, I think, or I'm not exactly sure why they want you over on WhatsApp, but that seems to be what they do.
Yeah. Again, control the narrative, control the conversation, control your destiny. Don't let someone talk you into installing WhatsApp or Signal and going, off the path.
Well, but here's something that I know people are looking at too and thinking about because of some of the headlines, right? So when we talk about messages in general, right, your text message or your Facebook message or any of your social media messages, there is this encryption part of the equation. What does that actually mean? And does it actually matter? Does it work? Like using something that's supposed to be like only you and the other partner party can read these messages. Is that even real with the way that the internet really works or data really works?
Well, I mean, the only person that really knows that is the person that wrote the app.
Yeah.
And have you seen the movie Snowden?
No, I have not. I'm
going to tell you right now. watch the movie Snowden and your eyes will be opened. But in general, here's the way I look at it. Signal right now seems to be the most secure platform out there. If you absolutely need to send messages to somebody and you don't want anyone to be able to get in the middle of that conversation and intercept the messages, Signal would be the application to do it. I used to say that about iMessage, Apple's messaging program, because it too at one time was client to client based, but now there's a server in the middle of that conversation. Apple can tell us that they have no way to read that conversation. They can tell us that there's no way that the government can come and request access to conversations between these two parties. But right now, Signal seems to be the only app that has a nearly foolproof encryption strategy.
And when we say client to client, your phone is a client, right? I mean, the internet is basically clients and servers storing data, computing data, sending kind of the middle person on. But your laptop, your phone, that's a client. So my message that would go directly from my phone to your phone, nobody's seeing that, capturing that.
And nothing's in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Whereas my iPhone, and we can touch on why I have two phones in a second.
Let's go.
My iPhone, if I message you using Apple's iMessage or Messages, whatever they want to call it this year, I don't know. If I message you through that, it goes to a server, and then it goes to your phone. When we FaceTime, it goes to a server, and then it goes to your phone. Yeah. Signal goes from this phone, encryption, across the internet, fully encrypted, so nobody can descramble that message, and it goes to you on your device. There's no server in the middle.
I still don't know if I believe encryption is, I mean, I know it's a real thing, but I don't know if it's foolproof, right? Because at some point there's a code for how this thing gets encrypted and decrypted, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I will never profess to be the guru on cryptology or crypto or cryptography, whatever the term is. I don't. But from what I've researched, Signal has a really, really strong platform, and the crypto behind it is really, really strong. It would take, I don't remember what, it would take years and years and years to be able to break that encryption. Now, you and I both know 10 years ago, that hardware, it would have taken hundreds or thousands of years. Now our new hardware and its increased speed and capabilities, it's gradually trying to catch up. Well, once that hardware gets to a point, then the people that make the encryption enhance the encryption to take even more power. So it's constantly a cat and mouse game where they're trying to make sure that the encryption is strong enough so that modern hardware can't easily break it.
It's similar. The metaphor I'll use is like the recording industry and what they were doing, right? Back in the day that we had tapes, and you could duplicate the tape and then you couldn't. And then there was I remember the boombox that actually had two slots. You could record from one to the other. And then some people are actually just holding up one to the other. And you're at Napster, everything, all these other things that have happened. And it's very much been any type of protection that the recording industry could put on the music. A 10-year-old had it hacked, the next day. Yeah. And the cat and mouse, right?
And the videos too, like DVD, and then the DVD encryption got released, or the copy protection, I should say, got released. Then Blu-ray came out, and now the Blu-ray copy protection is floating around out there. So now you can rip Blu-rays. And that's why they want to move to streaming, because they want ways to, well, how can I say this? They don't want us to own
anything.
Yeah. And I'm not just talking about movies. I'm talking about music. I'm talking about computer software. Adobe, I'm talking to you.
Yes, my favorite company.
Um,
Uh,
heated seats in our automobiles.
what do you mean by that?
Google
Are we,
BMW subscription for heated seats. They want to
oh
charge
my
people
goodness.
monthly to have heated seats, even though the hardware is already in the car.
It's so ridiculous. And basically just a digital 1 and 0 switch on
Yeah.
whether or not it's turned on or
They
off,
want you to
right?
pay, and I don't know what it was, $9.99 a month to turn on your heated seats. Yeah.
But that is something, right? That you could probably hack, but I mean, I don't know. Who wants to
Well,
go.
I mean, think of
Everything
this.
can be hacked.
If they can get into your car to make a change, somebody else could get into your car, and you can Google that as well. There have been people that have been able to hack someone's car while it's going down the road and stop it dead in its tracks. And you can Google that. They've already successfully done that. Now, since then, I'm sure the company has rewritten their software that controls the cellular connection to the car, but all of this stuff it's happening. It isn't, you and I aren't dreaming of things. These are things that are actually happening.
Yeah, and anytime we're introducing more things into a system, there's more opportunity for either failure and or penetration hacking, right? Like, so does my refrigerator really need to have be connected to the internet? Is that actually solving any real problems for me, or is it just introducing more at the end of the day?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's something to be said for buying an older car that doesn't have a connection to a cellular network.
That new Slate truck that they're going to be producing over in Indiana. Have you seen that? The $25,000 EV that they've just announced.
I think I did hear something about that.
Bezos is an investor on that. I love it. It's beautiful. Price point's great. I like the idea of electronic vehicles abstracting away pollution as far away from as possible from me, because it's still making pollution at some point. But I don't know if I can ever be 100% reliant on technology, and electrical technology, I guess, is kind of where I'm a little concerned. As you and I both know, most technologists, when they get to our age, we really start thinking about owning farms and having less technology in our life, right?
Yeah. So less chance of having to deal with things that cause us stress. As you get older, you want less and less stress. And so, the dream is to live in the woods. I'd still like an internet connection because I love Fortnite, but
let's go. Let's talk gaming then. Let's talk, because I'm a big Minecrafter, right? I'm about 3,000 hours.
You and my son.
Or 3,000 days into a Minecraft build.
Wow.
So without talking about me too much, last Father's Day, I said, Jackie, I need a break. I went down and just started streaming Minecraft because my kids were interested in streaming, and I have some serious concerns about that because of what that world really is. So I went in to figure it out. And since then I've been streaming, building, started as the original Legend of Zelda map, but now has morphed into Zelda structures from anything.
Wow.
And I did I'll send you a link, but I am almost a year into it. So it'll be Father's Day this year. I have over almost 3,000 days of Minecraft time into the build, which is going to equate to about 500 hours. So basically a part-time job.
Wow.
But it's my golf.
Wild. Yeah.
It's my golf. It's my stress relief. It's the place where I can be creative. I'm monetized on YouTube. I'm making $1 an hour doing it, but it's better than spending $60 for a couple hours for golf and all the balls I lose. So what's up? Tell me about Fortnite though, for you.
My son was playing Fortnite back in 2017, right after it got released. And I'm watching him in the family room on his Xbox. And I'm like, man, that looks like fun. Because I used to be a big Quake guy. Quake 3 Arena.
Yes.
Quake 2, Quake 3 Arena. So my son, he's playing Fortnite on this Xbox. I'm like, man, that looks like fun. And he goes, well, you can play that. And I go, how can I play it? He goes, go get the PC you used for the light show. And so I did for my Christmas light show.
We'll talk about that. It's on the list.
Yeah, I'm ADHD. So I have this laptop. It's a little Lenovo, right? And I do all the programming for the Christmas lights on it. And I got online and I downloaded Fortnite and I started playing, and oh my gosh, so fun, and I always tell this to people, and some people look at me like I'm crazy when I try to tell them this is chess.
Okay. How
Fortnite
so?
is chess on steroids, man. To watch some of the gameplay and the creative strategies that these gamers go through to defeat opponents in instantaneous decision making is beyond chess, in my opinion, because it's incredible to see how in a split second they choose this weapon or that strategy and it defeats their opponent instantaneously. It's just incredible. And so I started playing it. I'm not good. I can't really build, but I love playing it. It's like you said, it's golf. It's a stress release.
Do you follow Bush Camp Dad at all?
Mm-mm.
So Bush Camp Dad is our generation. We'll use that phrase. But he started streaming Fortnite during COVID, and he's millions of followers, like just massive amount of followers, just playing Fortnite. But
wow.
The issue that we have, and again, people of our generation have, is our response time for those fast acting games, because I play Smash as Super Smash Brothers as well, is we're like, our reaction time is about like 250 to 300 milliseconds. These young kids, they're like 150, and they're just faster.
Oh, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. I can always tell when I'm playing someone young because I go, that was superhuman.
Right.
That's not even possible. Well, for a 60-year-old, it isn't possible. But for somebody that's, 16 years old, yeah, they're just fast.
Well, when I play games, my kids are watching me, and one's 13, one's 9. They're freaking seeing stuff. I'm not, Dad, go over there. There's something. And I'm like, I don't know. What are you talking about? I go over there, and oh, yep, there it is. I'm like, there was nothing there. But yes, our kids are pretty spectacular when they get, and this goes back to your earlier point, when they get to do something they like.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
How much Fortnite are you playing a day?
Oh,
you're not
very little. Very little. I've been actually recently getting back into music, and I've been spending an awful lot of time. My background is voice, opera, undergraduate degree.
Really?
Yeah. And then master's degree in choral conducting, another master's degree in music composition from BGSU. And they put me in a computer lab while I was doing my master's. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing in the world, computers. And so I kind of got hooked on it. And that's how I got into computers, is they put me in a computer lab as my graduate assistantship. Yeah, back in the 90s.
Isn't it just wild how so many people that I talked to, it was just having that exposure.
Yeah.
It wasn't forced. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. It was just somebody had access to something, and that led to a freaking career.
Yeah. Wild. And I tell people, I also think that there are overlapping abilities between music and computers. So when I have to perform music, I have to, look at a piece of sheet music. I have to break down the notes. I have to break down the beats. Then I have to figure out the melody of this line, the melody of this line, the melody of this line. If I have to configure a computer and get it on the internet, I need to know where to click. I need to know what to open. I need to know what control panel to go to. I need to know what numbers to type in. And it's memory based. For me, there's a major relationship between musical memory, patterns in music, musical memory, patterns on technology devices, and having the ability to easily remember those.
There is a video by Steven Johnson. Are you familiar with Steven Johnson? Where Good Ideas Come From, how we got to now. He's an author. He was actually involved in the creation of Notebook LM. He has a video. It's a short TED video. He's done amazing TED Talks. Highly recommend. But it's a short video about innovation and invention, and he ties the computer back to the programmable harpsichord. Because if you think about what those computers are, what those musical instruments, automated musical instruments did back in the day, they were just reading code.
Yeah.
Pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
So a musician, I did not know that about you. That's why I love talking to you. I learn new things.
Well, I mean, that's the basis of the Christmas light show. So we could go back to that.
Yeah, perfect.
So
let's go.
It's a funny story, man, how we got into this. I won't tell you my neighbor's name, but here's what happened. You know, as I'm trying to build a career, and you know how much time goes into technology, how much time you have to spend to stay on top of things. And I really didn't have time to do anything else. I mean, many years ago, it was like 24/7. And my neighbors, he's decorating his whole yard and his house and the front porch and all the trees with Christmas lights, you know, and I might have had a wreath up on the door. I don't even think I did that. And so one day we see him taking down his Christmas decorations. So I took my then 6-year-old son. I said, "Hey, let's go say hi to him." And so we went over there and we're like, "Oh, you're taking your stuff down?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he turns to my son and he goes, "You should tell your dad to put up some Christmas lights, that old Scrooge." Embarrasses me in front of my son. Yeah. "Oh, it's on, brother. It's on." So
that's great.
I make a phone call to one of my former students who right now is an LED lighting director for a Marvel's tour that goes around the world. And I said him, I said, "Hey, I want a Griswold out my house. Would you help me with it? Are you going to be in town?" And he said, "I'm going to be in town on this date. Absolutely. I'll tell you what to buy." And oh my gosh, we sat there in my living room and we mocked up my whole yard. Whereas this chair here was the tree at the end of the driveway. You know, this coffee table was the bushes in front of the house. And so we would string like light strands all through the living room. And we sat there and he taught me how to program Lightorama is what it's called.
Lightorama, okay.
Lightorama. And
is that the software?
That's the software.
Okay.
And he showed me, and he started to do one song, and he said, "Okay, I got to go back on the road. You can finish out this song and then do some more." Well, that turned into, have you seen our light show yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Not this year. I think last year or the year before.
So it's like 45 minutes long. There's movie snippets in between the songs, and my wife and I just got really into it. And but I think the thing, and if you listen, and if you actually watch the show and try to get a sense of the music with the lights and try to see what I'm doing from a compositional standpoint, you'll see that I really tried to reflect the music in what lights I present at specific periods of time. And that goes back to my music composition training. I just got really into it. And I was like, man, this song is so quiet and reverent. I'm just going to have that one star shine in this section. And so that's just the kind of stuff that really turned me on and just got me going. And then that turned into, it's a 45-minute show, I think.
That's phenomenal, because that's like arts, design, and technology coming together. And that's like what the world is right now, I'm going to argue. So there's a project I may have to pick your brain on. So we'll talk about that off camera, because I'm not going to let my ADHD get the best of me today either. Good. So, yeah, it's tough, dude. It's tough. Well, you know what's fascinating though? And here we go, scrolling a little bit. Us tech folks, we tend to draw some of the neurodivergent and the ADHD people into these careers. And what I learned a lot as a curriculum developer and leading some software developers in creating curriculum was the tools that software developers were using for, project management, accountability, keeping track of stuff, everything else, have helped me tremendously, just even outside of the software / tech space. So it's pretty cool learning from software has solved a lot of the problems I think that the rest of the world is just catching up on, because technology tends to be a little bit more leading edge, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So So what are some of the challenges that you're facing now here in kind of in K-12, but then also stuff that we should be aware of kind of as we move into this future of AI is dominating every conversation now. So I'd be remiss not to bring it up, but what do you think about AI as it relates to what we're working on right now, specifically, how secure we are with things?
Everybody gets all like intense about AI and, it's going to be the downfall of society and all of this stuff. And that's what they said about, the internet. That's what they said about calculators in math class. That's what they say about, every time there's progress.
The printing press, probably, right?
Yeah, every time there's progress, we have people that want to say it's going to destroy. But my view on it is, if you're using it as a positive, it can solve a lot of issues. And I'll give you an example. Every year we put on a teaching and learning conference. There's about, 15 of us, 15 board members and myself. It's called the Create Conference, and it's about creative instruction. In other words, how can we get creativity within the instructional process so the students enjoy the lesson, it's more engaging, and you don't have a whole lot of, at least in my experience, having taught at TPS, having taught in parochial schools, when I would have a really engaging lesson that the students loved, then they were on task and I didn't have a lot of discipline problems. So that's the crux of what this conference is about. And so, we brought some people in to discuss AI and to do presentations on it. And when you look at it as a positive, it's extremely powerful. In fact, when we brought in 6 panelists to have this conversation on stage for the keynote for the conference, right before we went live with the keynote, I went, oh my God, I forgot to write the introductory speech for the keynote. So I opened up ChatGPT. I copied the bios off of the conference website. I dumped it into ChatGPT and I said, please write me an introductory speech less than 2 minutes long, introducing the people found in the text above for a learning conference called Create. And then I plugged my laptop into the auditorium audio, pasted the output of ChatGPT's speech into TextEdit on my Mac, and I said, speak all. And the laptop spoke for ChatGPT and introduced everybody on the stage. I'm telling you, it was goosebumps, man. It was absolute goosebumps. How can someone say that was wrong? It wasn't wrong. It was just, it is. I needed to do this. And that tool provided me with an incredibly powerful experience to solve a problem easily. And it was just phenomenal. So, I think we just have to figure out how to make the experience with AI positive, and we need to educate everybody on the appropriate ways to use it in education, the inappropriate ways you should not use it, and just set some boundaries. And we can absolutely master this tool like we've mastered Google, like we've mastered the internet, like we've mastered video conferencing during COVID, like we mastered calculators in math class. We can do it. I just know we can.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second because I agree with you. But when we came up, we were introduced to email, and no one really told us how to use email, correct? It was just this thing that you now had. I don't know that any company, especially small to mid-sized companies, came up with like, here's rules for this. It was basically like a lot of technology, right? The first computer programmer wasn't a thing until business gave somebody in the industry, in the business, here's a computer, see if this can help you, right? That's kind of, our first programmers were just people who were trying to solve problems within the business. if we look at email being an introduction of technology into a group of people who may not fully understand how it could work, anything else like that, I'm going to argue email became a big, huge mess, and that we've got data and evidence of that because I know people who have 10, 20, 30,000 unread email messages, right?
Yeah.
With AI, I'm afraid that we have way too many people, parents, who don't have foundational understanding of technology, foundational understanding of what the internet and the dark side of the internet is. And we now have this AI feedback thing that our kids can interact with that may or may not have a moral compass, and definitely not have those restrictions of what a normal society teaches people how to interact.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my big fear is right now. We have an entire segment of kids who are socially in a weird spot just by default. I think even pre-COVID, being a teenager is just a weird spot to be in. And now, because a lot of those chat bots, with the way the internet has gone, they're user generated, they're user created. It's not like whoever owns Harry Potter came up with this thing and it is actually like a wholesome or understood character. It's somebody else creating this personality that it's the user created portion of AI, and what it can do to people whose brains aren't yet fully formed to understand exactly what's going on scares me to death. That's the scariest thing for me.
Yeah. And I agree, but we've had that.
Okay.
We've already had that. Even in email, we had the scams from people claiming to be a prince from overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And we've always had a situation where the technology could be used for evil. And
yes,
what we have to do is we have to consciously educate, consciously revise the technology to make it better, to make it so that it can't be used in nefarious ways, like you're saying, or at least we can control that to some degree. And in terms of, our parents, I mean, this goes back to what and I'm smacking on the microphone, so everybody's going, it goes back to the whole cybersecurity lunch and learn series.
Mm-hmm.
If we identify that parents could potentially benefit from some AI guidance, or even just, hey, come to the board office 7 p.m. We're going to go through some AI tools so you can see what they do, just to create AI awareness, to get it on your radar so you know what's out there, because that's kind of what you're talking about. A lot of people don't know what's out there. And if there's something that we can do as the technology department for this public school district to get the community together so we can show them what we're dealing with, what their children are dealing with, and what ultimately they have to deal with, hey, let's do it, man. I think it's a great idea.
Because I think there's two things in there, right? You and I grew up with computers. We know what's in this. Well, maybe I introduced computers later, but we know what's in this because we took apart a computer back in the day. Right?
Yeah.
We are a little bit of the exception to the rule, right? The masses don't understand technology at the level that we do.
Right.
Combine that with, I think there is this fallacy that kids are good with technology. Yeah. Just because they can use this. I'm like, no, this is created for this is, my 2-year-old is good with this because this is created for people with no brains or just habit button touching brains. There's everything's been abstracted away from everyone. So I think we've got that another thing that scares me is that we're making an assumption that our kids are good with technology. They're good users of technology, not necessarily good builders with technology. Rant over.
Yeah. I just think, going back to our, before the cameras were rolling.
Oh, let's go.
If they're engaged and they want to play Minecraft, they're going to play Minecraft. If they're engaged and they want to solve a math equation because the teacher created this really competitive, fun environment that whichever team can solve this complex algebraic equation of how many tankers of water with X amount of gallons it takes to fill up the swimming pool. And I'm just like spitballing.
Yep.
But if they are engaged to want to do something, there's nothing they can't do. It's like us.
Oh yeah.
So let me give you an example, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm watching all kinds of YouTube because I don't watch a lot of television, but I love instructional video because I love to learn. And so I've been watching a number of different YouTube channels on small engine repair, car repair, and things in that genre. So one day I go out, I pull the cord on my, 30-year-old mower, and it won't start. And now, am I like gifted? I don't think I'm gifted. I've been watching these videos, and I'm slightly interested, but now I've got a mower that won't run. Now I've got an intrinsic motivation to solve that problem, which is another reason I love problem-based learning.
Yeah.
Project-based learning, problem-based learning, engaged learning. Now I've got a problem. I've got to fix this mower. And so now, okay, I learned from small engine YouTube videos, you need fuel, oxygen, and spark. So let me check the oxygen. Oh my gosh. The air filter was just destroyed. Okay. I ordered a new air filter, oiled it up, put the air filter in, won't start. Okay. Is it getting fuel? Yes, it's getting fuel. I checked the spark plug. It's wet. Clearly, there's fuel going into the cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Is it getting spark? And so my point in all this is, if you're motivated, if you're motivated, you can do anything. What I'm trying to say. And if we have to solve problems of the acceptable use of AI, if we have to solve problems of the acceptable use of technology, of all of this, we can do that. There's nothing that I tell my son this all the time. Do you realize what George Washington and those troops had to do so you could be free in this country? What they went through is difficult. What you and I go through is merely a challenge. And that's where I'm at. And give us a challenge, and we'll solve it.
I think that goes into, so as my background is in instruction and motivation, and we expect students to act differently than we do. Like, you don't YouTube things you don't care about. Right. So, and I think when learning becomes the means to an end, and learning for the sake of learning is a beautiful thing, but I'm not going to expect somebody, a teenager, 5-year, 5th grade, whatever it is, to do that. Right. That's something I think it comes to the maturity of, but even then, if you're learning for the sake of learning, it's usually a topic you care about, right? I'm going to learn about movies because I love movies. So learning as a means to an end is how we've survived as a species, right? Curiosity plus challenges equals development from the day we pop out. How do we make that happen in our education system? I'm going to argue has been difficult until now, because here's the textbook and here's these word problems about X, Y, and Z, and they may or may not relate to what your student actually cares about. The challenge has been crafting individualized scenarios for learning, because of the time and energy that it would take. AI can do that for us now, though, right? Like, here's this. I want my students to learn how to add to just do simple addition. Billy Bob's interested in race cars. Sally Joe's interested in basketball, and Bobby Sue wants to feed horses. Throw it in. Here you go. Give me these different scenarios that can get to the same X, and now the teacher's job is a heck of a lot easier because you're interacting. I'm going to argue, though, I think we have this fallacy of, that the AI is going to be able to teach our students. I'm going to argue the AI can probably present content. I don't know that it can do what a teacher really does, which is looking someone in the eye as a human and understanding whether or not they're in a space to learn, or have other holistic things that need to be taken care of as part of the learning process?
Well,
I'm sure you get inundated all day long. Sorry to cut you off. You get inundated all day long with new ed tech stuff. I got to imagine.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of learning. So my son really was never a writer.
Okay.
He looked at writing like, this is an assignment that I was given and I have to complete it. And then one day he had an English teacher that said, I need you to write a persuasive essay. And I'm sure as soon as my son heard that, he rolled his eyes. Maybe not. Maybe not if he watches this video. Maybe not. But then the teacher said, I want you to tell me about a person and you convince me of something about that person in the essay. And I think my son said, well, can it be based on a character in a game? And the teacher said, absolutely. Come on, man. Come on. I'm just going to tell you, when I'm trying not to get emotional here, that opened his eyes to writing. And he was supposed to write 2 pages. He wrote like 7. The teacher had to tell him to stop writing. So
when does that happen, right?
If we can take the state standards that these students are supposed to know and somehow make them relevant, authentic, engaging for the student to want to learn those standards, win. But again, that's not easy to do, which is why we do things like the Create Conference, which is this year, Mommy High School, shameless plug.
I am planning to be there. I just saw, actually, where was I at? There was the Ohio AI Education Conference here downtown Toledo last week before, and I saw some flyers for it. So I'm hoping you have a good turnout. I'm assuming I've been meaning to go, but I have not. But this year I'm making it a point to go because I know you and some folks from BG that I know are going to be talking about, I think, Minecraft for education and some other cool stuff. Chris, one of the awesome things I do, I take the transcript from this video, I throw it into ChatGPT. I have it turn it into an article that I can post. It'll give me also the YouTube description, the Spotify description, like maximizing content distribution is one of the things I'm most excited about as a creator, but then also as an educator as well. So, fascinating conversation, dude. We could go on forever, I feel, but we're at the hour mark and my wife can only handle 58 minutes of me. She's one of our listeners. So I don't know how much your wife can handle you, but unless there's anything else you want to cover, we'll go ahead and find a way to wrap this thing up here.
Awesome, dude. I have had an absolute blast, man.
I love talking nerd stuff with fellow nerds. That's a term of endearment.
No.
Love it. Man.
I am absolutely with you. The thing I love about going to the Ohio Educational Technology Conference in Columbus is when I talk with people and I get excited like this, nobody's rolling their eyes. Or their eyes aren't glazing over like, oh my, here he goes again.
Right on. Awesome. Well, Chris Hamady, the Director of Technology over at Anthony Wayne Schools. Again, thank you for everything that you're doing to make sure our computers and our kids are doing what they can to make cool stuff happen and be prepared for the future, which is, man, we could spend probably another hour talking about what we think the future is going to be. But appreciate the time, Chris, and I look forward to hanging out with you at your conferences that you're doing, the Create Conference coming up here at Mommy High School, and then also the community things that you've got going on here helping out the folks in our school district. So much appreciated, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
All right. Take care, everybody. We'll continue to make it happen.